Vic, you there?
I'm
Vic,
here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Oh, there's Mike.
Can you
Mike is
hear me?
And Mike is
Mike
in the
is the
house.
only one. He's the only one that's actually like in a stationary position. The rest of us are like out in the world.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So
I'm like the people at Whofield. I'm here.
really quickly, how was everyone's week?
Well, as well as to be
Man,
expected with all
yeah,
that's going on.
this has been a crazy week with the COVID coming back. It never really left. It's just coming back because people, weren't listening. They weren't wearing their masks. I've heard as much as you could cut this down by 85%. If 85% of the people with masks, you can nip this in the bud until we got a vaccine. But you know as well as I do the places where people were protesting the most, not wearing masks in the South. Now they're catching hell, and now they're deciding, oh, there's a problem. The governor, the senator, of Florida, which are real Trumpers, the Trumpsters all through the dumpster fire Trumpers.
Hey, Mike.
I'm sorry.
How was your week?
Well, I can't even get to talking about my week when dealing with this nonsense. This is craziness, Candace. This is crazy.
I think what happened was you had a bunch of Republicans that decided to politicize this. They wanted to downplay it. They cared more about the economy. I think another thing that happened was it got kind of put off like it was just only affecting Black people. And so when you have all of those things put in place, when you have a virus that you know nothing about, you leave yourself open to have what's happening in Florida and Texas. Florida has 9,000 cases in one day.
Texas had what, 7?
And then I think we're seeing, and I think we're seeing even here in Michigan, and I don't know where Vic is because I can't see him, but I think we're seeing even in Michigan, where we back up, we have our regions and our phase plans, and we have a 6-phase plan or whatever, and 2 of the regions 6 and 8, which is the UP and the Grand Traverse regions, they were able to go to phase 5 and do some things a little quicker, while the rest of us are still in phase 4. But if you look over in Lansing, you see that there was a restaurant that it's up to 57 cases of this restaurant / bar, 57 cases from them being back open. 57. So they had to shut back down. But I think what happens is, I think a lot of it is just human arrogance. One is, a lot of people were figuring, because a lot of times people live in rural areas. Right. And so sometimes it takes a minute to get to the rural areas and affect the rural areas the same way that every other area is affected. And then I think too, people decided it's hot and I'm tired of this, so it's over. Human arrogance. Like, something doesn't go away just because you're tired of it. That's not how this works.
Well, okay, look, we find now that ignorance is not always bliss, right? If you want to follow this crazy president down a rabbit hole, Alice, that's where you're going to end up, in a hole.
But I think that they should be angry too with their governors. Not only should they just be angry with themselves, but they should be angry with their governors, because they took this and they all politicized it. They did. They tried to make it seem like, oh, the southern states with the Republican governors, they're not having those issues, and this is the Democrats, and this is a hoax. And you now you see, like, no, this was really a problem. And because you lived in a rural area and you were further spread out, it took a little bit longer. But now that it's getting to you, now that you're no longer spread out and you're near people, you see how rapidly this is. Because I thought that was the strangest thing, to have this bar in Lansing open back up. And then out of nowhere, you've got 57 cases linked to it. I mean, and it's 57 and rising. So that just goes to show you that it was the right plan for people to be safe apart from each other. It was the right plan to say, wear your masks, because now this looks like this might be more airborne than they thought. I think a lot of people weren't considering that.
So all the people that were calling Governor Whitmer a Nazi, and
Yes,
all, do you hear them talking now? They're quiet now. They're
they
quiet in
are.
the church.
They
And
are.
but this goes back to what we find in America, and this is why I get to blaming it on the president. See, if the president pushes Rick, what's the guy, the governor in Texas? I'm not assuming in Florida, and the senator in Florida. These are right wing nuts. But if
Yeah,
he
the two
says, "Hey,
Trump is in
I want
Florida
y'all
and
to wear
Abbott is in
masks,"
Texas.
they'll come out and wear masks. Listen, I saw Joe Biden the other day, and I know we're going to talk about him down the line, so I'm just going to talk about him for a quick second. Joe has no problem with his mask. So he's wearing the mask like, hey, it don't matter. I've already removed the point that y'all gonna talk about people with masks because you should be wearing one. Trump is so stupid and messed up in the head and so worried about himself, he won't wear a mask in the midst of a big crowd of 6,000 people, of 3,000 people in a church, closed in that environment. But then people will still wish away what they were doing. So they'll say, well, it's happening because people are out in the streets protesting. How can you be for protesters out in the streets protesting and they're out there and they close and gathered, but they're wearing masks and they're outside and it's not quite as bad. But if you are out, and plus they're protesting about something that we need to talk about. You're going to a church voluntarily, you're going to a stadium voluntarily indoors, 3,000, 6,000 screaming and hollering for a man who does not care about you. He only cares about feeding his own ego. And this is the problem with America, that arrogance that you just talked about, Candace. This arrogance is just overwhelming. And these people are so they're so apt to just say we're wrong. You liberals are wrong, and I want to get you liberals that can't be right, that they will kill themselves literally with COVID to prove us wrong. Well, who's right now, you doggone conservatives? Where's Carl at? Where people like that at? They ain't gonna get on these shows now because they know better. We've been proven right over and over again. Look, as we speak, the president is trying right now to kill Obamacare again. While people need health care more than ever, they're out of work, they're getting sick from COVID, kids are out of school, they need health care. He's trying to take it away right now when we need it the most, and he's trying to be quiet about it. Him and his crazy Attorney General A.G. Barr, and I call him the terrorist slash treason Barr. What are we doing here in this country right now? We got to get rid of these people. They are dangerous to the country, and they are going to send us down the bad path. We're going to send us down a rabbit hole, being buried 6 feet deep.
Right. I just think that it's quite interesting how silent everybody is now. How now no one's making a big deal of it, and now they're trying to act like, oh, it's because of, like you said, the protesters, and it's like, no, they're saying that it's not even being linked to any of the protests that's going on and showing no links. It's literally because you guys are on beaches and in restaurants and in bars and in nightclubs with no mask on, just living normal life. Like, that's the reality of why.
Well, yeah. See, people don't even understand how things work. All right, so let's say you got 3 people in a room, and they kind of a little spread out. All right, there's a few fumes and stuff going in the air. That's one thing. But then let's say you got 100 people in the room. Now there's lots of fumes, there's lots of spray going in, and it's mixing all up, and it's falling back down. You ever walk into a little bit of ray of sunlight in your room, and you see them little dust particles? You can't walk between those. You got to walk in the middle of them, but you're breathing this stuff in. And you got 100 people in the room, and if you just got one who's got it, they're spread it to each other. So the person next to him gets it, the person next to him gets it, the other person walking across the room gets it, and now everybody's got it. That's why 57 people in a place get it. And then it's also about duration. If I go into an office and I speak with you for a couple minutes and I'm out, that's maybe one thing. But I'm there for 2 hours. We're screaming and hollering, mixing up spit, literally, figuratively, or whatever to each other.
Right.
That presents a problem. Science works, people. We got to listen to science. And so, speaking of science, our head scientist, our missing in action scientist. He's been put under house arrest. Dr. Fauci, where are you?
He hasn't talked to Fauci since all those people went on quarantine a couple weeks ago.
And so think about it like that. Remember, every day he was giving talks because he thought it was work for him. As soon as it stopped working for him, people started saying, "Hey man, you really want people to start drinking bleach? I mean, really, is that what you want people to start doing, drinking bleach?" And then he ain't answered that question yet. And I'm mad at the press for this. Nobody's brought that back up to him. What's happening with your hydrochloroquine, Mr. President? Are you still taking it? Mr. President, you've been getting tested. Why can you get tested and nobody else can get tested? I mean, this is insanity. And this is why it's been a terrible week for me. It's a wonderful week because I'm alive and God is blessing me. But at the same time, it's a terrible week for our country. It is. We're going deeper down the rabbit hole. And we gotta pull ourselves out of this. I am even getting mad because I hear more and more people talking about they might not vote. What's wrong with you fools? And I'm gonna call you fools. If your skin color looks like me and you don't vote in this election, you are castigating and vilifying the ancestors that came before you to fall for that vote. If you don't do nothing else, just go vote because grandma thought it was the right thing to do. Or if you don't go vote for nothing else because they keep trying to take it away, and every time, look, I'm nervous about black folks. They keep giving you dope. You're able to get that anytime you want, but they keep trying to take your vote away from you. So which one means something more to you? They don't care about you taking dope, but they care about you being able to vote. So you understand the difference. Go out and vote. Do the thing they don't want you to do. It's crazy. I see Brother Vic, you back.
Yeah, I'm back, man. I'm back.
Vic, I literally just asked how his week was going, and he starts talking about everything but how his week was. Everything.
You mean this is the first time he stopped since he started talking?
First time.
I'm having a great week, but the country's having a terrible week.
There's a lot going on, y'all. So it sounds to me like the Democratic Party needs to organize, right? It sounds to me like there needs to be a ground game that's put together and a multi-pronged attack in order to put forth the same message, Mike, that you were just making reference to, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll admit that they got to get better on their game. I will say this.
Look. Trump is fighting for his political life. If this man loses this election, he could go to jail, all right? And I think it will take the Republican Party a number of years to recover after everything that Donald Trump has done with regard to his administration. So this guy and his cronies are fighting for their political lives, and they're going to leave nothing to chance. And that's why the Democrats can't leave nothing to chance. Trust me on this one.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Democrats have been hitting back. Biden is putting out new commercials every day. I see him on Facebook. I see him on YouTube. So he's attacking. I think one of the problems we have is that there is a problem with organizing, Brother Vic. So I agree with you. It's hard to organize sometimes with this COVID going on, but that is an issue, and we do need to organize on the ground a little bit more. Now I don't know if it's because I'm a card-carrying Democrat, but I'm tired of getting text messages from every other person every day talking about can you go vote and stuff. Candace, you must be getting them too, right?
No, Mike. Carl said hi, Mikey.
Carl. Hey, Carl, did you go to Tulsa, Oklahoma to that convention? Did you go? Hey, Carl, stay 6 feet back, man. I don't know what you got if you've been to Tulsa.
Well, Candace, what do you think? How's your week been, Candace? How's your week been, Candace?
This week, I think this week was a blur. You know, I do a lot of different shows all week. And so this week was a bit of a blur. But thank you, Vic, for sticking to the main question up front. I did want to talk about a couple of things, though. I
saw you on the video with Tekashi 6ix9ine, Candace.
No, definitely wasn't me. Definitely wasn't me. Carl said nothing but love, Mike. Nothing but love.
Nothing but love, Carl. Nothing but love. You know it, man. You know it.
But I wanted to, and the reason I wanted to talk about this, I wanted to get it out the way up front, so we wouldn't spend a whole show talking about it. But then Mike started talking about something else. But what I wanted to get out of the way up front was the very strange thing that just happened. And I sent you all the link. The president is going to sign an executive order stating that when it comes to federal government jobs, that they need to prioritize in certain areas, that they need to prioritize the experience over the education, because you're losing out on a lot of good talent because you're not taking into consideration people's actual experience in working in those fields. And let me explain something to you. When I tell you I was shocked that he signed something, that I was like, okay, all right, I will go with you on this one. I was shocked.
Uh-oh.
No. Banana in the tailpipe. You can't go for that.
No, Mike, it's not banana in a tailpipe. I can agree with what I can agree with. I think that's insulting that you would think that I don't have enough mind of my own to know that I'm still not going to vote for him. That doesn't mean that I don't like that order. I like that order.
I'm talking about listen, there's always an ulterior motive for these people, right?
And that's fine that he has an ulterior motive, but you got to understand that sometimes when their ulterior motive is going to help literally millions of people, because the federal government is one of the largest employers of civilians, is one thing you got to take into consideration. And so I don't care what his ulterior motive is there, for the simple fact that is going to help a lot of people with employment who has the actual experience and might not necessarily meet those educational requirements. That's actually going to help their households, and that's going to boost the economy that is currently tanking.
No, it's not.
Mike,
No, it's not, Candace. It's not going to help us. All right, so
how do you think people getting jobs is not going to help them? What do you mean?
All right, so let me talk to you about it then. What he said was experience, right? See, I've lived long enough to watch them change the rules in the middle of the game. In the middle of the run, they change the rules. So I'm gonna give a perfect example to Professor Vic, emeritus my community college, a highly educated man. All right, they told him, "Hey, man, it ain't about experience. You got to have a resume."
Carl. Carl, let me pause you real quick. No, this is not you, Mike. I'm pausing Carl. Carl. Candace does not like Trump, Carl. Let's pause. Go ahead, Mike.
She's talking like Trump, so she's looking like Trump right now.
No, you know what is the killer? I'm going to let you finish your point. Then I'm going to tell you what the killer is. Go ahead.
Okay, so in all of these things right now, who's getting the experience? Those people have been put in the job, not us. They got all the experience right now, and they don't have the education. Before it used to be, oh well, Mr. Vince got education and he's got the experience. We got to hire that Negro. We got to hire that black man. He's got something to put on paper. Who's going to identify what experience means? That's just muddies the water, which means they can identify their own and put their own in. Now, when we've gone and got our education and went and said, here are the criteria, now they changed the criteria.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that education would still be a criteria. He said in certain of those positions, which that's been something that
positions.
Let me help you out though. But that's been something that I've agreed with. A lot of times, people will have experience from working certain jobs.
Yeah,
like they will, and they just don't have the education criteria to match up. And that's a lot. And actually, that's the case for a lot of Black people, is they've not been given opportunities because they've had the experience without the education.
Okay, listen, I hear what you're saying. It sounds good, but what are the variables? You can measure education. You cannot measure experience.
That's not true. If you would have read the link that I sent you, thank you, Vic. Thank you, Vic. If you would have read the link,
I want to. Here's my point, Mike. Here's my point, Mike and Candace. Here's my point. Mike, there are schools, there are universities and colleges and whatnot that take into account a person's practical hands-on experience, and they quantify it, and they roll those experiences over into credit hours that counts towards a degree. I mean, there are colleges and universities that actually do that. No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Hold on. I agree with that.
So experience is quantifiable. It is quantifiable.
I didn't say it wasn't quantifiable. I'm saying they are going to put it in practice like you're talking about, Minister Vic. They ain't going to put it in practice, brother. They're going to say, well, here's Bill Joe. He was an intern. I'll give you an example. Let's take the fire department, for example. Let's take the fire department. And this happened in Toledo to a guy I know. His name is Major Smith. Major has a college degree in education. He went and tried to apply for the fire department of Toledo. We went through all the testing and everything, but some of the young white guys worked in the townships and other places. They had the experience. They hired them before they hired Major. So they do this kind of stuff. I don't know anybody black who's working at the township right now as a volunteer firefighter. But all these other people get the experience. They come in and they get those jobs. They don't offer that kind of job sometimes to us. I'm not saying it can't work in our favor, but we have to be very careful when they want to change the rules.
But this is the thing, Mike. But this is the thing that you're saying, and you're being totally dismissive of it. But at the same time, then turn around and saying it could possibly work. I'm saying this is going to give a lot more people opportunities who have experience and might not necessarily have that education. That's the reality. Is that's what it's going to be. What I'm also saying to you, though, is we are at a time where we're supposed to be doing policy push. We're supposed to be doing systematic structural push for change. I just feel I get tired of hearing the same stuff. I get tired of hearing the same, we're waiting. We can both push for what we're pushing for, and then also be okay with the fact that this experience thing is going to happen, and it's just for the federal government, and it's not totally dismissing college degrees. But the thing is, at some point, you got to know these laws, you got to know these rules, you got to push for it for yourself. And Carl, I'm not going to turn orange, but what I'm saying to you all is that Mike, I can't sometimes with. And then I think sometimes you're so blue that you can't see. You can't see.
All right, so I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing here, Candace. I know this enough to know if Trump is sponsoring him, it ain't good for you. Let's remember that. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't say that, Mike. I just think we have two different understandings in life. I believe that somebody can mean something evil and it end up working for my good. I just believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe that sometimes. I believe that sometimes rules and systems get set in place, and although they weren't meant to benefit you, just like that Constitution and freedom wasn't meant to benefit you, but you're free. But so all I'm saying is, hold up.
Okay, so can I speak to this? Oh, we're free now. Slavery that we're still suffering under. What are you talking about, Kenny? I mean,
my point is,
hold on. Let me say this. That's like, you know what? That crack epidemic sure made us stronger.
Wait a minute. We get away from the topic, y'all.
It's got nothing to do with no crack epidemic. I didn't say no crack epidemic made you stronger. You always got to be an extreme.
Why you laughing?
Candace. Hey, Candace. Why don't you spell out what was the article saying?
I just explained to you what it said. That they were going to, in certain federal jobs, that they would be required to consider the person's experience over their education. And I'm sure that a lot of that comes from the personal fact that Trump has zero experience and he's hiring people with zero experience. I get that. And so once he's out of office, he want to make sure his little crappy people can keep a job because they've got experience now.
Exactly.
I get all that.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying to you, though, Michael, is that this can also work for others. This can work for others as well. You act like that just because they put this rule in that it says only people that worked for Trump now get this rule. Like, there are other federal jobs that you can work from that is not just in DC. There are federal jobs all over that this could really help people. That people that are currently in these positions, people are currently in these positions getting all of this experience, but they can't move forward because of a piece of education that's stopping them when they already know how to do the job.
So let me break it down like this. I agree with you. I mean, in principle, what you're saying is right, but you have to consider who's moving forward. You have to be careful and look at every angle when you're dealing with this snake.
I am confused about the fact that this is the thing though, you want to keep making about Trump and his people and acting like they're going to be the only ones that can benefit from this. I'm not saying he's not doing it for personal gain reasons or to help his people. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. What I am looking at it from is the aspect of how other people will be able to be helped from that. But I think your problem, Mike, is in your mind, Big Blue, all you can hear is me saying Trump did something right to go vote for Trump. I'm not saying that. You don't want me to say you guys are so afraid of this man that you think if somebody says anything that's not negative about him, then all of a sudden it's going to be something that's going to work in his favor and people are going to rush out and go vote for him. It's like, come on.
All right, so what you're saying is
Trump, what I'm saying is you are in no danger of me voting for Donald Trump. It's not.
All right, so that's twofold. He can always convince some of us that he's working for us, and I don't want to give him credit for something. See, remember this: when Republicans work, they usually do what's called twofers. So they'll help businesses and they'll cut jobs for us.
Vic,
right?
hey Vic.
So when you talk about how Trump works,
Vic, is it not clear that there's no way, shape, or form, nothing this man can ever do to make me vote for him? Is that not clear? Is that not clear?
Hey, Candace,
very clear, and it's very true.
I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about you. What it will do is make people say, "Oh, them damn Democrats ain't doing nothing. Ain't no use of me voting."
They're already saying that. You said it yourself. You just said a few minutes ago before we even got on this topic that they're already saying that. You just said yourself they're already saying that.
That's my point. And what we have to do is make people understand. Don't fall for the banana.
So wait, let me get this straight. Because your party has some weakness to it. I can't talk about an executive order that he is signing that may benefit other people because your party is not strong enough foundationally to pull in votes or to get their base out to go vote. That's what you're saying to me?
No, what I'm saying is watch the banana in the tailpipe. All you need is a little bit of people. And so just the fact that you and me have been sitting here for 20 minutes arguing about nothing that he ain't done is a problem.
I'm not arguing with you about anything. You're trying to tell me that I can't look for as a person that understands policy and as a person that understands law.
I could have ended it with this. Candace, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
I'm not falling for anything. I'm not falling for anything. That's the thing that you don't understand. It's clear. But as a person that understands policy and as a person that understands law and as a person that I thought we were supposed to be pushing to make change, and you still sit up here talking to me in some archaic manner like you don't believe that change is going to happen. I'm confused. But anyway,
you don't think what's going to happen? You don't think what's going to happen?
I said you are acting like you don't think it's gonna happen. You are gearing yourself up to live in the same system you've been living in, and that's fine. You can do that. But what I'm saying to you is, what I'm not gonna do is leave people ill-informed about an executive order that he's signing, nor am I gonna leave them ill-informed about the claim of the executive order, nor am I going to leave them ill-informed about the source where they can go find it and read it themselves. And like you said, this man has shown us time and time again who he is, that most things will be for his personal gain. My thing is that the people that are going to vote for him are going to vote for him. The people that are wavering in your party are wavering anyway. So to say, no, we can't talk about some positives that we can use some legal and legal and policy and procedural things to get ourselves advanced in this, that's crazy. And I'm not going to do that out of fear
As I
of
said,
him. Like, come
listen,
on.
we're giving him more credit than he deserves.
You're the one giving him more credit. I'm not giving him credit. That's you giving him credit. That's you saying don't say Candyman in the mirror 3 times because he's going to show up. That's you.
That's Trump is. He's the Candyman.
That's what he is.
He's the Candyman.
Daddy Trump giving you candy. Daddy Trump giving you candy, and you eating it right up.
Oh Lord!
I'm not eating anything up. I'm not eating anything up. Let me tell you something, because I've never been on the Trump train. The minute that man, he lost me at his opening speech when he ran for office the first time. When the speech was, oh, we're gonna send all the Mexicans back, and we're gonna build a wall. He lost me then. I've never been with him. I've never been with him.
So look, here's a man right now who's putting people in danger. He's endangering lives of Americans, right? He's doing that, right? He's also mad at people pulling down statues of slave traders or people who've been
how he wants to give people 10 years for pulling down statues. We can talk about that. That's utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, and you go burn a flag. Look, I ain't never wanted to burn a flag in my life. I'm a soldier. But if Trump passed a law that say you get a year in jail for burning a flag, I'm finna go to jail. Y'all get my bail money together. But these are the kind of things he wants you to be arguing about, Kansas, when we need to be talking about getting him out of that office.
We're not arguing about anything, and my story has not changed from getting him out of the office. I'm simply telling y'all something that he's signing today. I'm confused.
Yeah. And like I said, it's not just you, Candace. There's a lot of people who don't follow this as closely. You see, you're a political pundit. Professor Vick is a professor. He knows this stuff. I know a little bit of something. So we're not talking about us. I'm talking about the average person who got the peripheral, and all they hear is Democrats ain't done nothing. All they hear is Trump doing something for me. Well, I ain't gonna vote because they're all the same. See, whenever I start hearing that language, they all the same, I know there's a difference. Look, R. Kelly ain't the same as somebody else who messes with young girls. They're 18. If you 18 messing with somebody 18, but R. Kelly messing with 15-year-olds. There's a big difference between that. They ain't the same. A 50-year-old messing with an 18-year-old is crazy and stupid and it's dumb. But it ain't the same as a 50-year-old messing with a 15-year-old. They're not the same. They're not the same. And so don't act like Republicans and Democrats are the same. They're not the same.
But Mike.
Nobody said they were.
Okay.
But Mike, aren't we dealing in the battlefield of ideas? So if the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the Independent Party wants my vote, they're going to have to put forth their best set of ideas in order to persuade me to agree to vote with them and vote for their persons. So we're doing. Look, hold on. I think we need to give the people more credit, man. I think we need to give our community and Americans in general more credit to be able to weigh and balance the good from the bad. No matter who it's coming from.
So let me explain it to you.
The only reason I'm gonna meet y'all in the middle with this argument of giving more credit and also be cautious because they can be swayed is because we've seen
the glass is half full. I'm just saying the glass is half full. I understand. I'm just saying. That's all.
I might have to stand down on that one, Vic.
You don't have faith in the people? You don't have faith in the people?
That's not it. I'm saying that Mike has some valid points in what he's saying, is what I'm saying to you.
Here's what I'm saying. I remember Willie Lynch and I remember Willie Horton. And both of them were powerful.
Absolutely.
And so,
Carl said that Candace, you are arguing. Well, first he said a couple of things. He said you have to set standards to work from, and that's when we were talking about the experience. He then said Corrector General Mike Harris. He then said Mike has trust issues in general. I don't agree with this last part, but he said Trump did good. Then he said, Candace, you are arguing with a guy that is way too left to consider the voice of centered Democrat. And then he said, Mike, your party is not inclusive.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah. Well, every day, and listen to Brother Vic stuff. And I'm not here to necessarily defend Democrats per se, but I will say this: they've been down there fighting in the trenches. They've been putting in legislation, and Mitch McConnell. I say it every time I'm on the show. Mitch McConnell is your enemy. And this is the saying I have a problem with as black folks. We always say, "You your own worst enemy." No, you not. There's an enemy out there who's called the racial social construct, and they've been picking at, messing with you all day. And it took people even to wake up to see George Floyd lose his life in that way for them to wake up. You tell me Tamir Rice didn't wake you up? Michael Brown didn't wake you up? None of these other people woke you up?
But Mike, if that won't wake people up, what will? What will? If that does not wake people up and motivate people to go out and to cast their vote, what will, bruh? What will do it?
That's the point I'm trying to make. What will make people do it is winning. We got to win first. People they can talk all day.
But Mike, they've been doing that lately.
You know why don't
elections?
You know why don't nobody respect Charles Barkley and Karl Malone? Because they never won a ring. You got to win the ring, man. We should be talking about winning the ring. This is America. People are winners. You ain't nobody if you don't win.
So Mike, I would say this. No matter whether it's the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, they have to put themselves in position to win. And since the Dems know how the Republicans get down, then the Dems have to do what they have to do.
Well, I think that's a tricky story.
Plain and simple. They know the land space. They know what's at stake. They know who they're dealing with. They know who they're debating against. The Dems got to step up to the plate and make it do what it do. Period.
All right, so
no excuses. No excuses.
As a Democrat, I got to wrangle in the LGBTQ folks. I got to wrangle in the Bernie bros.
Make it happen, Captain. Make it happen, Captain.
The cars and the centrist
Mike,
Democrats.
Right. Let me pose this question to you. Why did Trump defeat Hillary Clinton in 2016?
Because he lied.
It was her race to lose. Really, she was supposed to win. She was supposed to win that. Why did she lose? Why did she lose?
You asked me a question. Can I answer?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Doc. You've been talking, but Mike, you've been talking for half an hour now. So don't try to pull my coattail on how long I'm talking. All right? Come on, Doc. We got 3 mics up in here. Russell, as in Westbrook.
Can I answer the question you asked? That's all I'm asking. Can I ask? Can I live? Can I live? So, all I'm saying is some of it was hubris, but at the same time, the problem was this: the Russians were coming out with things that didn't matter. And was moving out interest. I heard people say this. Well, Hillary, she's not to be trusted. It's the same thing they said about Kamala Harris. You can't trust her. She put black folks in jail. But meanwhile, Trump done put way more people in jail. So Mitch McConnell done put most black folks in jail. So, but what are you saying when you say this woman's a prosecutor? She's no good for us. Because the Russians put out their talking points and spread them over the internet, and people pick them up, and a lot of times they're right wingers.
I'll answer my question, Mike. I'll answer my question. I believe the reason why Trump was able to defeat Hillary Clinton, among other things, is that during the 11th hour, he simply out-hustled her. He doubled back and came back to Wisconsin. He came back to Michigan. He came back to Ohio. He came back to Pennsylvania when Hillary Clinton didn't. I remember when there were literally volunteers from the Democratic Party and the black community begging Hillary Clinton to come to Detroit, and she did not. And when she did, she went to the Eastern Market rather than going to the west side or the east side of Detroit, and rather than campaigning up and down the I-75 corridor. That, in essence, is why she lost during the 11th hour of that race. There was no presence here. There was no presence here. She thought she had the race. She thought she had the race wrapped up. She underestimated him. And I'm saying this: I'm not a Republican. I'm not voting for Donald Trump, right? But what the Dems did was they underestimated Donald Trump.
All right, so now
they can ill afford to underestimate Donald Trump today.
Did the Russians help Donald Trump?
I'm telling you.
Did the Russians help Donald Trump?
Man, no, Mike. all of us on this line know that all these parties do hanky-panky. Right?
Wait,
Let me make my point here. The Republicans do it. The Democrats have done it in the past. Right? Right? Look, Mike, let me finish. Mike. Stop the presses. My point is that there's always some stuff in the game. The Dems are guilty of some stuff in the past. The Republicans have been guilty of the stuff presently. We can point to Georgia. We can point to North Carolina. We can point to voter suppression situations and tactics taking place and how elections were stolen. Right? We know this. All I'm saying is that the Dems know this too. The Dems know this too. So they understand where the bodies are. The Dems do. So they've got to maneuver through the landmines and make it happen if they want to win. If they want to win and defeat this guy.
Professor Vic, you said the Democrats got some hanky-panky. What hanky-panky?
I'm saying to you, Mike, that in general, yes, both parties have blood on their hands when you look at the totality of the history of the political project in American society. Absolutely.
All right, so
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. I mean, we can point to the civil rights movement and all the things the Dixiecrats did during that time period. Now, we know the Dixiecrats migrated over. Let me finish, man. The Democrats migrated, the Dixiecrats migrated over into the Republican Party, where they are now. However, there was a time in the 50s and the 60s when the Dems were ran by the Dixiecrats. The Dixiecrats were the sworn enemies of black people in the South with regard to the civil rights movement. Am I right or am I wrong? That's what I'm talking about.
The same people who were against us then are against us now. Why?
I just said that, Mike. I just said that. The only point I'm making, Mike, I'm clear on where both parties stand today. The point that I'm making to you is that both parties have taken part. Both parties have taken part in hanky-panky. Both parties have done that, Mike. There are no angels here when you look at these political parties.
This is where I gotta stop you. This is
man, not for the thinking man and woman. No, I think for myself. I understand the historical record from a general standpoint, and I know that both parties have done that, man. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
All right, so
how did Kennedy win the election in 1960?
All right, so
aside from contacting Dr. King, when he contacted Dr. King, when Dr. King was arrested and taken to jail, right? He was winning over Black America. However, Mike, both you and I know that he also put a call through to Chicago to Mayor Daley. And what did Mayor Daley say in that conversation? He was a senator at that time. Mayor Daley said to Senator Kennedy, "Hello, Mr. President," because he delivered Chicago.
All right, so
there was all kind of dead people vote. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Ain't no angels here. Ain't no angels here.
All right, so let me make sure I got this right. Back in 19.
No, you're gonna try to tell me, Mike, with a straight face, you're gonna talk to me and say you're gonna tell me that politics is not warfare without the bullets. You're gonna tell me that.
No,
you're gonna tell me that with a straight face.
I can't tell you nothing because you won't let me talk.
Help me out here. What do you say?
You won't let me talk. Can I?
You've been talking, Mike. That's the problem.
You want to know what's funny? Mike literally talks the whole show every show until we don't let him talk.
This is the problem. Because this is false equivalency. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're gonna bring up something happened 60 years ago,
bro.
About one.
But you're not listening to what I was saying. I was saying to you that historically, neither one of these parties are clean. That's what look. The Republican Party is no longer the party of Lincoln. They're no longer the party of the abolitionists. They don't have that spirit. Right? And today, the Democrats are no longer Dixiecrats today. They are the party of inclusion today. But the Republican Party is not as inclusive as the Democratic Party is today. But in the totality, Mike, in the totality of the political project in American society, neither one of these parties are clean. That's all I'm saying. And I'm very clear on who's in the White House, and I'm very clear on who's in the Senate, and the hanky-panky that they have been administering since they've been in their offices. That's all I'm saying.
Show me where Democrats have been.
And I think any reasonable person would agree with me, Mike, just based upon what I just got through saying. I don't have to repeat myself. Any reasonable man, any reasonable woman, when they look at the facts, would agree with me that neither one of these parties are clean. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, pardon me. Let me get in here and ref this. I want to do a couple things. We have a couple of comments that I need to get to. Carl said Trump didn't believe he would win till he did. It was a surprise. Donald underestimated himself. Trump is a third-grade communicator, more inclusive to everyone.
Who is in the Oval Office today with his third-grade vocabulary and all.
You got to communicate at a 6th grade level. He's right.
And he's in the White House, ain't he?
And then somebody else requested that we talk about Mike. And then somebody else requested that we talk about local politics for the last 10 minutes. I'm not going to do 10 minutes. We can talk about local politics for a second. But what I do want to say is, Vic, Mike is Big Blue, okay? It's not too much you can say. The fact that he can sit up here and try to act like his party is spotless and that they're white as snow, it's amazing. But that's his opinion on it. Mike is trying to make sure that you don't criticize them because he don't want no votes to go to Trump. Okay? So he's just trying to make sure that Trump gets out of office. So he is going to argue those blue talking points, and no matter how crazy they sound, because he wants Trump out of office.
All right, so I'm gonna say this again. Republicans Trump today were the Dixiecrats of yesterday, the same people. But even moreover, when I talk about this, Minister Vic is talking about stuff that's 60 years ago.
Mike. I'm saying, Mike, are the Democrats angels? Have the Democrats never done wrong? Is that what you're telling me then? Is that what you're saying? They've never done wrong. They've always been right. Always. Forever and a day. Is that what you're saying?
Let me answer. Let me answer.
Mike, we know you roll with the Democrats. We got it, man. You know, we don't need to even go there no more, man. We beat the dead horse at this time. I think it's a foregone conclusion that neither one of these parties are angels, man. When all you got to do is look at their body count. All you got to do is look at their record. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Mr. Vic. Who you vote in? Now, maybe I need to question that now.
Now you weren't even listening to me, Doc. For you to even say that, Mike, you're not even listening to me.
Let me tell you,
you're not listening to me.
Vic, all he wants to hear is down with Trump. We're not voting for him. Democrats are great. We're gonna do what we're not gonna say anything else.
This is the problem I'm trying to say. There's a false equivalency here. Do you beat your wife? Do you beat your dog? Or do you? No, but he beat me 60 years ago. That's I've heard people still talking about what went on in high school. Man, I ain't like I'm 50 years old now. What you talking about, man?
Yeah, okay, all right. What, Mike? It is sad that it's come to this, but Carl, you even got to the point where you got Carl having to acknowledge both the parties are a problem. Because you are so far left right now. Carl is saying
that. He's a Trump supporter. He benefits. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Carl's a Trumpster. He says, hey, yeah, that's the same. Listen, I hear this all the time.
Are you kidding me? You don't recall? Carl has said stuff about Donald Trump too now. I'm not saying he's not a Trump supporter, but he has called Trump out too. Mike, you won't call Sims out
No. I don't just do this stuff with him. I use it when we talk about black folks. See, other black people use the same kind of language on us. And so this is subversive language. When you say, well, black folks, we are our own worst enemy. That's the same thing like saying the Republicans and Democrats are the same. Black folks, we are our own worst enemy. We're not our own worst enemy. And whenever somebody black says that, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Girl, I mean, but
we didn't say that, Mike. Neither one of us said that today.
Neither one of us said that.
Well, I'm saying that's the same thing as saying that. Black folks are our own worst enemy,
Okay.
right? Ain't you our own worst enemy? Haven't you heard that
I just
before?
think that's crazy. Let me tell you something. It is. I really feel like you are of the mindset that it is okay to have a dictatorship, and it is okay to say be quiet and don't question leadership as long as it's the leadership you
No,
want. That is what
that's
it
not what I'm
seems
saying.
like.
Hey,
That is what it seems like.
all right, so just what Minister Vic is talking about. I'm talking about winning. Y'all talking about something else that ain't talking about winning. Let's talk about winning. See, when I play on the sports team, I know what team I'm on. We out there winning. We smashing heads. We making it happen. We pushing it up the court. We making it move. We don't care about the other side. We rolling through them. We talking about winning. Because after that, we can talk about other stuff. But right now, let's win, y'all. What y'all talking about? Let's get out there, win, team. Let's go, team. Let's go, team. Let's go, team. What y'all talking about, man? I ain't talking about what we doing. We out in the locker room.
You know what's funny though, Mike? That's how you end up though. The fact that you are so blinded that you feel like you can't criticize them or you can't say that you have a problem or you can't have a fault. That's how you end up with more stuff that you don't want. I agree with Vic, the fact that the Dems have a lot of work to do. I'm still not gonna go vote for Trump. He can throw as much stimulus money out there as he wants to. He can throw as many executive directives out there as he wants to. He can do as much as he wants to. But I didn't vote for him the first time. I ain't voting for him the second time.
There you go.
There ain't nothing he can do to make me vote for him.
Absolutely.
Candace, I just said it before. We ain't talking about you. We talking about other folks. But let me talk about when you go out here. When I'm on the team, what the best teams I've ever played for were the teams that said, "Hey, man, you made a mistake, but get out there, man. We're gonna make this happen because we got to beat them this other team over here."
I gotta tell you something though. I gotta tell you something.
Whenever I was on a team and when debate is happening on the bench, that's a problem. You need to put that stuff into the locker room later on, and that's when you argue.
We can multitask. We can multitask now.
You want to know why this is funny? Because one, he's acting like we can't walk and chew gum. Number two, he's acting like his party is above criticism. Number three, he's acting like Mike. Let me finish. Number three, he's talking to somebody that played sports and quit because she didn't like the direction the coach was going in. So you got the wrong person telling me to focus on the win, baby. Wrong person.
Well, I always said there's some people that ain't coachable. I said that. Some people ain't coachable. You may not be coachable, Candace.
You know what? That's what abusers say. When they can't abuse you, they say you the problem. I hear you.
No, and you got to work on it. They try to make you dig down deep and try to make you think about it a different way. Look, focus on winning, and all the rest of it take care of itself. We got to win.
That's actually not true because we had dudes in charge before and it didn't necessarily work out for black people. We focused on the win and that didn't get us nowhere. So I don't really like
we got
right now.
Then we get healthcare out of that
right now.
The last time we had Democrats in charge, we had healthcare.
And then not only that, you're saying focus on the win. We might have two different definitions of what winning looks like, buddy. We might not have
There's only one way to win. There's only one way to win.
So hey, how about this? Vic and I are focusing on the win. We're just not focusing on your win. How about that?
West side. Win. You got to win. But look, let me say this too. There's other people trying to bring us down as a country, right?
Right.
And so when I see people arguing about that, when we got real terrorists among us arguing over certain things, like people are saying, well, they're going to tear down George Washington statues next. Whose statues are they going to tear down?
I don't care about it. I don't care.
But hold on, that's why you should. Here's why you should. Here's why you should. If you don't care about whose statues are up, then that means they'll be tearing down King's statue next, saying he was a womanizer. He wasn't like LGBTQ people. There's always reasons for people to go in different directions. We have to be careful of how we move towards the symbolism. And so I'm at a moratorium of if it ain't Confederate, like leave it alone. If it ain't Confederate, Leave it alone. I don't care about Christopher
Mike,
Columbus.
this is the thing, though, which makes you a hypocrite. You're saying you want to tear down Confederate statues because they stood for slavery. Meanwhile, you want to leave actual other slave owner statues up. Mike, what's happening?
Well, Candace, and once again, I'm going to say this. The country ain't ready for that. Take your time. You can get that later on.
Did you hear that, Vic?
And so hold on. What did he say? Who did you bring along by tearing down the statue of George Washington? Who did you bring along? You gonna kill George Washington schools?
Listen. My dear white moderate 1960s preacher friend, I hear you. Wait. We're waiting. I hear you. And as I write this letter, from the jail in Birmingham, white moderate preacher friend.
Kwame wouldn't listen either.
Let me put it in another context that you might understand. James Baldwin said, look, you've been telling me to wait my whole life. I'm 61 years old. What am I waiting on?
James Baldwin laid the groundwork for where we are today, right?
Mike, we literally fight the same battles of people that died 30, 40 years before I was even born. What's up? What we waiting on, Mike?
Are you for a statue of Malcolm X being put up?
Mike,
what about Malcolm
X? What we waiting on? I'm just asking you what we waiting on.
Hold on. I'm saying, what are you waiting on? I'm not talking about waiting. I'm talking about strategy.
You just said that America ain't ready for that. That sounds like wait. What we waiting on?
Okay. So what I'm saying to you, looking back forward, when you want to talk about LGBTQ rights and talking about winning or whatever, they couldn't get marriage equality back in 1990. They couldn't get it. They couldn't get health care back in 1990. But strategically, you chip away at it till you can get what you need.
Woo, buddy. And chipping just means, so basically chip away at it. That means that you're perfectly fine with stuff staying exactly the way it is as they put you 6 feet in the ground 90 years from now.
No. How do you Candace? How do you eat an elephant, Candace? One little bit at a time. That's how you do it.
Eat an elephant, Mike. I'm trying to reform a country. I ain't trying to eat an elephant.
What's the reform at? What reform comes out of taking down statues? I'm waiting for your reform, youngster. Where your reform?
Didn't I just say I don't even care about that? I'm not even going to have no statue argument with you. Didn't I just say that?
I'm asking again.
Mike, neither Vic nor I bought up or cared about this statue stuff. You bought that statue stuff up. We ain't bring up. You arguing with yourself about the statues being torn down. We didn't say either way.
All right, I
just simply gave you what we do on this show. I just gave you another perspective.
Just like the law you looked at before when you think it's okay because on the surface Trump's think it looked good. Looking forward.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all.
Taking down a statue of George Washington Day. Tomorrow taking down a statue of Martin Luther King.
Can I just tell you something?
Don't think it can't happen.
Can I just tell you something? Can I tell you something?
You're not listening.
While you are not a Republican, you would have made a good one because you stay twisting my words. You stay twisting my words. You stay saying stuff I didn't say. You stay trying to act like I'm saying or doing things I'm not doing.
Oh, do I do that? How do I do that? You use your words. You said it. I'm just saying what you say.
I didn't say that though. I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. We can play the tape.
Okay.
We can play the tape.
Let me ask you a question. In the midst of the protests and the looting and things that are happening now, right? You got people out legitimately protesting and trying to make money. And that's great. But then you have people that are in there looting. We don't want those folks, right? We can agree on that, right?
You are the main one who I tried to tell you that the person that looted Wendy's was a white woman. You tried to argue me down. Now the white woman burned up the Wendy's.
When the Boogaloo boys throwing bricks at the police, when the Boogaloo boys show up and the Fox News is showing that a police officer got shot, they don't show that it's a black guy getting shot, a white guy shooting the cop, and it's a subversive terrorist. They show it's black. So
basically, don't have a movement because somebody gonna come and interrupt and try to make your movement. Don't have a movement.
It's not even working. What I'm saying is, you gonna have movement. You gotta move strategically. That's what I'm saying. Remember that.
There are always going to be people that interrupt your movement. There are always going to be people that infiltrate your movement. There are always going to be people that try to distract your movement.
Yes.
You do not have to own a narrative just because they put it on you. Mike, I told you you were free. You are free. You're free. You got
Hold on a minute. Are you free? You think you're free, huh? You think you're free.
Mike, let me explain something to you. Are you ready? I'm freer than my ancestors was.
All right.
And you come to me, I'm gonna hold on to it, and I'm gonna How about that? How about that?
That's the truth they tell you. You
I need you to know, Vic, do I not quote Coretta Scott King all the time and saying every generation's gonna fight for its freedom? So then what is Mike talking about right now? Who is Mike talking to right now? Who is he talking to right now?
How are you fighting? What are you fighting for?
What are you talking about?
I asked you a question. I have to ask you 3 questions. I said, who are you fighting? What are you fighting
for?
What? And
how
are you fighting?
Right now, Mike, I'm fighting you so that Vic and I can have 5 commentary in my show. I'm fighting for a word in there.
You fight me and go fight them. We're trying to win. That's exactly you run the point, and I gotta say you fight me and fight the real. That's the whole show. You finally came around to what I'm talking about.
Look, but I'll tell you what though. We got 30 seconds. Mike, give us your last 10.
Hey, listen, there are terrorists out there. We got to be careful how we move. It's all about winning. This is America. America don't care about you unless you're a winner. Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield trying to come back. You know why? Because they were winners. Don't nobody want to hear from other people who lost the boxing matches. America cares about winners. We got to be on the winning streak. Let's be strategic in how we move. That's all I'm saying. See y'all next week. If Candace don't let me go.
Thank you, Mr. Red, White, and Blue, Mr. Archaic. Go ahead, Vic.
Just a message to everyone to remember that the race doesn't go to the swift or the strong, but to he or she who endures until the end. Peace. Next week.
All right, and all I'm saying, I'm just spend my last second saying we will be back next week from 5 to 6 p.m. with Visit Anyway, and I'm sure that Mike. I want to point out that this week Vic ended up in an argument with you and not me. But next week 5 to 6 p.m. we'll continue Visit Anyway with Candace and our special guest host Michael Harris. Thank you.